Yeah, so no emails yet. Alright, Merkulin, you didn't tell me what game this was, but it's a 50-cent game. Is it just a 9-man? Looks like a 50-cent 9-man. I assume it's 9-man turbo. So let's have a look. My title should be changed. Let me just check my dashboard. I changed the title. Yep. Alright, so first hand, let's see. You can call this getting 5.5 to 1. Odds are really good, but it's a hard hand to play out of position. So if you're not comfortable, you don't have to do this, but I would call it 20 because it's only 20 chips. You've got 20 in there already. You're getting 5.5 to 1 pot odds. And the plan is to just play a small pot if you hit a weak pair, and play a big pot if you hit 2 pair or better. Yeah, so but you don't have to play it. It is very hard to play those out of position, the weak aces. Yeah, I'm done playing Tom Hart. Just doing reviews now. There's still a delay because I don't want to reload the stream. But normally when I do reviews, I do it on 0 delay if I start the stream up, just to do reviews. So I like this call, just to try and flop a 2. See, with no 2, I'd keep it just simple. You're not really going to win this hand by the river, calling down with 2s. They could have, like, you might be good, but you might not be good. I'd just rather just fold this. Alright. Yeah, so definitely fold the turn. Well done. No set, no bet. Remember that. No set, no bet. 9-man, you have to play pretty tight. Ace-jack, you can raise. Top pair, top picker. Just bet. Good job. You're gonna knock my house down, Seb. I just put him in the other room. Remind me that he's in there. I'll let him out in half an hour or so after he calms down. Okay, yeah, so top pair, top picker in micros is pretty much the nuts. You just want to go crazy with it. I would just fold this hand because this is quite a strong play. When people raise limpers in micros, they're not doing it that loose. So I would just fold the king 9. The odds are okay, but you have to play out of position, and you're probably going to play out of position against 2 players. So it's just very hard to get a profit out of this. And you can be dominated by king jack, king 10, and king queen, ace 9. All those hands are in their ranges. So I would just fold this, Merkulin. Great flop. I'd rather check out of position, because this guy has shown that he likes his hand. You know, you have the very, you have the second up flush, so yeah. Oh well. Great job. getting it in against those hands. But it wouldn't have made a difference now. But I do think that on average, checking here, you're going to get more value. But the way you played it's fine. Just betting when you have it flushes. You know, it's not a mistake. I just think you lose a little bit of value when you make them fold all the hands that maybe they would bluff themselves. But if they're very passive players and they like calling, betting certainly can be the better play. I've got your game, Forsana. You're next. I've got your game. Yeah, it's this guy. Jacks. Nice. Min raise, it's fine. More min raise, looks good. It's not the best board. It's just you just made it a min raise, so he is going to defend hands with a 5 and 4 and 7 and 6s and like 6x and hands with an 8. So I would be tempted just to check and not even see about this board. Now that he check called, just give up. There's no reason to barrel bluff trying to get him to fold a 4. People don't like folding Merkulin, so like the c-bet is the only chance that I would say that you should be bluffing ever in micros. If they call you, give up. So this is, well, now that you hit the king, you kind of have to call because you do beat some hands, miss flush draws. He maybe has a 6 and he's bluffing, so you do have to call the river, but I would not have double barreled. Alright, Aesthetic, you're after Forsana. Yep, you're after Forsana. Okay, ace queen. It's good. I would say when you're in the small blind, you want to try and make it a bit more than a min raise when you're playing this deep. Like this is 30 big blind poker. So when you min raise, you're giving the guy 3 to 1 in position. He really shouldn't be folding anything. Or he should be calling a lot. So I would make it at least 250. Yeah, I think my size would be 250. Just to prevent him from calling like 80% and maybe he only calls 40 or 30, you know. But with ace queen you don't really care because it's value, but I would say in the small blind your standard size should be 2.5. You can min raise when you're in position though. Hey Settable, send your hand history. Alright, let me check. This is the 50 cent game, Maximizer, 50 cent 9-man. From Merkulin. Have you ever made a withdrawal? Withdrawal to my bank account usually takes 2 or 3 days, Black Talon, but withdrawal to an online wallet like Moneybookers is instant. I got your hands settable, and I got a hand from Hunden Rufus, so you guys should have enough time to do both of you today, as long as no one sends me a bunch of 180 mans. I would not fold this. King in the small blind is pretty strong, so if you don't want to raise, just limp stab Merkulin, but I would raise. Alright guys, finish my lunch. Just gonna take it out. Be right back. Alright. You have my full undivided attention now. No more foodies. For the moment, anyway. Alright, just calling sixes. This flop's okay. I think with the gut shot you can check call just once. I really don't like check raising, Merkulin. Because you have showdown value right now, like you beat all of his bluffs. If he doesn't have a pair, you have the best hand because you have a pair. But you might induce him to just jam it all in with 2 overcards and a straight draw or some kind of flush draw, and you're just bluffing. You just don't need to turn this hand into a bluff. It's strong enough where you can just check call, use it as a bluff catcher. Yeah, if you don't check call, I think you should just check fold. So I don't like check raising. You end up building a big pot out of position with a hand that you only have a gut shot. You really don't have a lot of equity, so I don't like this play. Just play a lot more standard, a lot more tight, Merkulin, is my advice so far. Just call. Definitely have to call here against the min raise, getting 3-1 in position. See a flop at least. I don't like raising here because he's a short stack and you have to play the weak kicker out of position. I would just call the 75 and see a flop. Yeah, review time now, Dark Founder. Got a few people in line in the list in my email. How do I send Singo history? Here's my email. Takes 99. That's the email there. And here is how you get the text file for me from PokerStars. Alright. Just fold ace 2, just fold ace 5, just fold that. Yeah, like you don't need to 3-bet this hand, Merkulin. Just call, see a flop. Let's see what happens. Might as well. Guess he just folds, yep. Like you can 3-bet, but I think for 50-cent games, you get yourself into a lot of trouble. Just when people don't really play well against 3-bets, just see flops. Just call. Don't 3-bet unless you have a very strong hand and you're doing it for pure value. That would be my advice. In low stakes games. Once you get better and you start playing mid stakes, you can 3-bet as a bluff against the right opponents. But you need to really know why you're doing it. So yeah, the Queen 6, you can min raise here against a tight player. You can also limp stab, but I do prefer having this hand in my raising range, because if you do see a flop, it doesn't flop very good. There's no draws you can really make, you just look, you need a pair. So yep, good raise, I like it. This is loose, but against 2 really tight players, I don't mind this raise, because they've got decent stacks. They don't want to reshove super light close to the bubble. If one busts, it's the bubble. So I don't mind this, but they have to be very tight players. If they're loose, it's not going to be a good raise with 5-10. This is a call for 6 big blinds, 6.5, so you can, no, sorry, not 6.5, what am I saying? 7.5, 8.5 big blinds. 8.5 big blinds, it's still a call. Even for 10 big blinds, I would reshove all in against his button range, because you have to think that if he has ace 2, he would just shove all in. So when he's shoving any ace, ace 8 is better than half of his aces, so you can just shovel in and you know, have a pretty good hand against his range. So that would be an all-in. Have to raise fold king jack, that's okay. As Jamie Staples would say, raise calling ace 10. Against a tight player, it's just a raise fold. So you need to have some read that this guy is pretty loose, reshoving all in. But from what we've seen so far, he seems like a tight player. So I would just raise fold the ace 10 for 10 big blinds. And raise call ace jack. Like, it's going to be close, but most people don't reshove with ace 7 if they're tight players. Yeah, so the ace 10's pretty risky against a tight player. I would just fold it. But yep, you made the right read in this occasion. Now we're on the bubble. You can own this bubble. You're the huge chip leader. There's one guy with one big blind, and these guys, they have to be extremely tight. So you should be raising every hand. Well, now the short stack's all in, you can't abuse this situation anymore. Because if you shove all in, he can still call. The cutoff can still call with a wide range, because the short stack has to beat both of you, and you have to beat the cutoff for him to bust out. So I would just call, getting 5-1 and see a flop. Try and bust this guy out. Mid stakes are defined as, I would say, for sit and goes, above 15s. So $30 to like the 60s, maybe even 100s are mid stakes, and high stakes is above 100s. But it changes for different games, because like 9-man normal speeds, you don't even see $100 games running. So like high stake, like the best players in those games probably only play 60s, but the best player in like a 6-max hyper can play $1,000 6-max hypers. So they don't really play like 60s. So yeah, it's like between 30s and 60s, maybe 100s is mid stakes. Lower than 30s, so like from 15s to the 5s and 7s, that's low stakes, and I'd say below 5 is micro stakes, so 3s, 1s, 50 cents, that's micro. Alright, so I would just call. This is, I don't like this. It's quite close against his 5 big blind range, and you don't mind if he gains chips and the bubble continues, because you're the huge chip leader, you can abuse this situation. So when it's a really close call on the bubble, you don't want to make it. You want to just fold. Like, this is never going to be a massively plus EV call. Something like ace 8 would be massively plus EV, but ace 4 is really marginal. I wouldn't call here. Yeah, so you give up some chips, but you're still the big chip leader. You can still abuse these guys. I would raise any 2 cards here, because this guy is in the cutoff. He's the short stack. These 2 here in the blinds have to play very tight, so just min raise any 2 because you're on the bubble. You can fold 3-7 because the short stack's in the big blind now. Okay, shove any 2 cards. That's a loose call, but that's fine. Now we're in the money. Alright, fine. Heads up time. Min raise, good. I mean, what do you do if he check raises? You kind of have to not fold, because he could be bluffing this board, but it's awkward because you have bottom pair. So I would prefer to just check back, see a turn card, play a smaller pot. You don't need to c-bet all the time when you have a pair heads up, especially a weak pair. So raise king queen for value, that looks good to me. Raise the 8s, looks good. Limp, that's fine. Definitely bet when you have the draw, good. Just fold queen 4. How much further in this game? Alright, a little bit further. Just give him respect when he pots and you have nothing. Let's check that. Great flop. I'd check raise. There's enough draws that you can get value from. like check calling, top pair, decent kicker heads up is a good hand. And check calling this board, you're scared of a lot of turn cards. Spades, 8, 6, 10, they're all not that good for you. So yeah, I definitely check raise. If you're going to check raise. The other line is to just bet yourself and like bet 3-bet and go broke. Yeah, I don't like check calling. Now you're in the cage. You probably have the best hand when he checks back. So I would go for some thin value and just bet 500. Yeah, oh, okay. He checks back 2-pair. I would have got owned, but I think you made a fairly nitty play there. Alright, so raising 6-3, it's fine. Value raise ace-king, good. Just limp 6-4, limp fold, that looks good to me. Well done for playing that hand, Merkulin, well done. You want to play any 2 cards on the button heads up against bad players. Limp or min raise. Definitely don't want to fold if they're playing quite weak. So we'll just defend that. Definitely, I prefer to just check call the 300. You're turning your hand into a bluff. If he shoves here, what do? You don't know whether he has an ace or whether he has a draw. You put yourself in the cage by check raising a weak showdown value hand. So just check call, see a turn card. Yeah, now you're just guessing. Does he have an ace? Does he have a jack? Like, you're committed to call, yes, but you did not make the correct line here. Just check call, see a turn card. If the turn is bad and he's barreling, just fold. If he gives up, if he checks back, you probably have the best hand and you can win a small pot. This is not the way you want to play a weak showdown value. Okay, just play 100%. You can shove this hand profitably. You can limp. I would probably limp unless he's really aggressive. Then I would just shove. Folding is the worst play. You're losing money by folding there. Play that hand, limp. Because he's pretty weak. He's not being that aggressive pre-flop. I mean, against a tight player, you can actually shove any 2 cards here. Yeah. So this is not an all-in Jack 3 for 6 big blinds. It's just a fold against the raise. That's definitely a mistake. Not strong enough hand. Ace Queen, I'd probably prefer to just min raise, try and get more value. Merkulin, but yeah. Bad luck. So, lessons from that game. Don't play fancy plays, Merkulin. Don't check raise bluff. Just don't bluff at all. Play value. That's about it, dude. The rest of it was pretty good. Well done. What'd I miss?